Hey y'all, it's Hope at Crafty Hope, and welcome to my ICAD number 56. ICAD means Index Card a Day, and it is a challenge that runs each June and July from Tammy Garcia of Daisy Yellow. She's got daily prompts and weekly themes on there if you participate. And as well, there are a couple other people out there that have some offered up some other prompts out there. One of them is Nina Fickett has offered up some mixed media ICAD prompts. On this day, I'm working with both Tammy and Nina's prompts. The prompts are totally, absolutely unnecessary. If you want to just decorate an index card, do that. It's about just making some art every day in this small scale. So the two prompts, you can see them there, are Encyclopedia and Unity. And I kind of work them in to start off with, I didn't have an encyclopedia to use, but I did have an encyclopedic dictionary. So that's what I've glued down here on the background. I'm going to go ahead and tell you this is one of those cards that starts off and gets out of my control, and I have to rein it back in. So this first little section here is going to be a little wild. It takes a bad turn here in a bit. And I like these beginning starts. Like I've got this Lucky Clover Distress Oxide and one of my hand carved stamps. And I'm just going to put a little bit of that down just to kind of bring something more to this background, add a little texture, make it feel less flat. And see, already, I mean, that's a beautiful card. It's like I said, I'm going to make it cray cray. So some of these steps are really going to get covered up here in a little bit. But again, if you've seen some of my other videos, you'll see that to me, sometimes that's part of the process. Just having a place to start is great. And then if you don't like it, cover it up. Do something else. Collage over it, gesso over it, tear it up and make it something else. All right, so I've got, that's just a little bit of India ink. And I'm making these pretty black splotches. I really like those as well. This is still looking kind of good. I think I'm going to try this real quick before I move on. And then I've got a Neo Color 2, which is a water-soluble crayon in yellow. I don't know if that's the color of it or not, but I scribbled on there, and then I'm coming in with a little bit of, I think that's folk art acrylic paint in cardinal red is what I think that is. I'm using a bamboo skewer there to just make some tiny little marks on here. And I think in a second I decide that I don't like the marks. You're going to see me take that bamboo skewer and really do something a bit more random. Yep, just like that. And I smeared through some of the marks I had on there. And this is where it gets kind of wild. Like, I think adding the red marks on the page in the first place was a bit too far. It made everything feel a little, I don't know, out of control. So I think I'm gonna try this now. I decided to dip into some of my paper scraps and pull out an envelope, and that's just from one of my bills, I'm sure. And I am just cutting this down into strips, just like this. And it's funny that Nina's prompt on this was Unity because I was having so much trouble making this feel united and making it feel as a single piece. So like I said, these prompts I end up bringing in, but they're really subtle. Like I've already covered up most of that encyclopedic dictionary back there. And I'm putting these fun little strips here. I really like, this is probably one of my favorite parts of this card, are these strips of just an envelope that are hanging off the edges. I love that. So I'm trying to figure out what else I can do here, how I can rein this back in. For some reason I decided to grab some instant coffee that's dried up, and I'm just reconstituting it with some water, and I'm going to put that in the card, and that's going to be the last straw for me. That's where I decide, oh my gosh, this is taking a turn for the worst. What have I done? I cannot believe this card is so bad. So I apologize that you've had to watch 5 minutes of this nonsense, but part of this process for me is learning what it is I like and what look good together. Like the stamps with that little bit of black on it on top of that paper looked fabulous. And I have to remember sometimes that I don't have to use all of the supplies, that sometimes just a few little things can make something really beautiful. It doesn't have to be all the things all the time. So there was my big thumbs down because that had gotten so bad. So I've pulled out the gesso and just this like silicone brush thing, and I am going over this card. And again, I do like those. Why can't I get the word envelope out of my face? Um, I do like those envelope strips, so I'm kind of keeping those there as much as I can, but covering up the rest of that mess that was in the background. And it's kind of neat there because you can see some of the elements kind of poking through there. You see some of the distress oxides kind of bleeding up through the gesso, and the black marks are still kind of there. And they're still going to be there in the background, but not really noticeable. So I've grabbed this Amsterdam acrylic ink. I think the color is yellowish green. It could be light olive, but I think it's the yellowish green. I've got a couple greens of the Amsterdam that I really like, and yeah, I can't tell in this video which one I used, but I think it's, yeah. I'll stop saying that now. All right, so I've just kind of put that on there, moved around the card, and I'm coming in with the Liquitex acrylic ink in that cerulean blue hue, and just did a couple drops on top of that, and I'm going to just pull it through that green with my bamboo skewer, and look how cool those marks are. I really dig that. I'm gonna have to try that again because yeah, that's kind of neat. So, and I'm going to try not to go too far with that. So I'm going to go ahead and dry it. And look, when it's dry, it's even cooler. It was still a tad bit wet, so I'm picking up some of that excess ink. And yeah, and I didn't want to blur that even more, so I turned the page. Anyway, so I've got that, and then I'm coming back in with that cardinal red paint. And I'm not going to go as crazy with it as I did before, nothing too busy. Instead, I've got a toilet paper roll, or the inside cardboard, the tube. And I'm just going to make some circles there. And those circles are all kind of combined into one. So, unity. Look, see, I'm starting to bring that back around in here. So I've got that. And then I needed a little bit of mark making on there. So I'm going to grab a watercolor pencil. I think it's an Inktense pencil in, I think it's just the black one. And I don't know why I used it instead of just a Stabilo all, but yeah, I just wanted to use that. So I'm going to make some marks there inside of one of my circles, and then I'm going to decide in just a second to go ahead and kind of frame this up, but just where the circles aren't. So I'm not going to drag that black color through where the circles are. I want them to have their own entity as one body, as a single unit in this whole unity thing. And then I am going to activate that with a little bit of water on a paintbrush. Just let that kind of move around and darken it up just a smidge. And then for my last thing, I'm going to pull out, I think they're called the Big Chat stickers from Tim Holtz. They're single words, and they're kind of larger than most of his other stickers. And this one says together. So again, unity. There we go. Tying it all together with the word together. So it's unity. And I'll just take that same watercolor pencil and go under that and activate it to give it a shadow. And that'll be it for card number 56. There's just a few more left of these, y'all. I hope y'all are enjoying them. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching, and keep on crafting on. Bye.